All right, we're live. This is the Kingsland Connection. I'm Bobby, and this is Brad. Joe's not here with us this morning, so Brad's replacing.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever replace Joe. You know, his shoes are so small.
Yes, they're tiny feet.
Tiny feet.
Oh, man. The Kingsland Connection, the purpose of this is just to extend Sunday into the work week, and we're going to talk about Sunday and also give you some updates of what's coming forward. Brad, how was your weekend?
Man, it was a busy weekend, Bobby. It was my kid in junior high had a makeup basketball game with the school, so they had that. My kid in high school had some football stuff and then also baseball tryouts. Ooh. And then our house typically seems to be the home where all the kids come. So Saturday evening, there was a UFC bout match. And so I think we had about 8 or 10 boys in our home, a lot of food, but it was a blast. It was a busy weekend, but super fun. Fun.
That's awesome. And
how about you?
Yeah, we had a busy weekend. My youngest is 4, and so Friday I was off. I got to take him to swim lessons, which he's learning how to swim, and he's doing awesome with that. And I just got to hang out with him for the day.
See, I think what maybe the people watching don't know about Bobby is a heavy smoker. And I know you smoked a lot this weekend, right?
Yes, I smoked some meat. Yes, I smoked.
Bobby got a new grill, man, and he sends me pictures 10 times a day of the things that he put from brownies to pizza
we've done it all. And so yesterday we were meal prepping for the week, and so I smoked a ton of chicken. Our kids love. We made burgers on the smoker, which was
my kids love that.
Yeah, it was fantastic, so good. Sausage, even some duck because me and Charlie went duck hunting, and it was fun. And I'm enjoying this thing. So I think next Saturday the plan is my first brisket.
Brisket.
It's time to get the brisket going. So
Bobby's a heavy smoker.
Yes. So it's a great weekend. And as we jump into the sermon series, this is the last sermon series that Pastor Ryan and Steve Jones was at North Katy. Mm-hmm. This is the last week of the Reset series. It was fantastic. But if you're online right now, I've got a question for you because we're completely opposite on some things, and some things we agree on. But are you a morning person or a night owl?
I mean, you know the answer. I am a early morning person. So typically this morning was 4:15, like up before my alarm. My alarm usually set for 4:30. So definitely a morning person. That's when I work best.
Yes. So you're morning, and I'm more of the night owl.
Yep.
I just got into this bad habit in grad school.
You just stayed up too late, man.
I stayed up too late, but I would want to hang out with Jen because we were newly married. We'd hang out with her when she would go to bed. I would stay up to do work, and so I just got into this really bad habit for about 4 years where Jen would go to bed around 9, and then I would write papers and stay up. I pulled all-nighters, and now my brain I messed it all up. So I'm a night owl. So if you're watching, I want to know, are you a morning person or a night owl? Just let us know. Drop us a comment and let us know. Joe's on here talking about us. Fun times. Way to go, Joe. Joe, are you a night owl or a morning person? And I'll let him make the comment there. But that's a good question and segue into the last part of the sermon series, because we talked all about rest. And we talked about, the man at the pool. Jesus was very clear with him on the process of restoration. Yeah. And then it doesn't end there. He gets up and walks. He goes to the temple. And something happens that is a game changer for all of the rest of the gospel. When Jesus goes after the Pharisees and talks to them specifically about the Sabbath and about rest and why he came for rest. What was your favorite part of it?
There's probably 2 parts. Really, just a reminder, when Pastor Ryan and Steve Jones both hit, is when Jesus looked at the Pharisees and said, my Father and I are working.
Yeah.
That moment where he didn't use the word our Father. It was my Father, and that reminder right there of he is the Son of God, right? Yeah. Which they took utter offense to. right? But then working. And then really, I think, Bobby, that was the powerful moment probably of just concluding this series was seeing people turn in their cards at the end of service. And for those of you that were not here on Sunday or didn't get to see online, is really this whole reset series is how do we experience spiritual renewal when everything around us is not changing, right? And so Pastor Ryan had been talking a lot about our predicament, right? And we're not going to be overwhelmed by our circumstances. And so he just led us through an exercise of our offerings. And so he had our people fill out on this card of here's my current predicament, right? Here's what's heavy. Here's what's weighing me down. Here's I'm not experiencing rest in my life because of this. And so I'm going to place this at the altar. And so across all our venues we had a great time of worship. And then people came and just put that at the altar and laid it down. And Pastor Omar and I were talking this morning about just how amazing it was across both campuses to see that.
Yeah, and it was a powerful moment of just whatever the predicament is, big or small, to really lay that down and then seek that rest. I love what Dr. Jones said and Rush said about what the Sabbath is for. The Sabbath is Jesus asking, do you trust me?
Right.
Because I'm working, do you trust me? Do you trust me enough to slow down and rest? Physically rest, but also spiritually and emotionally rest in who he is. Do you trust me? I think it was a powerful moment. The cool part too is I was on the online during one of the services I was watching, and just happened to be across, and Pastor Ryan asked everybody watching online if they wanted to share their predicaments and lay those down, and people were filling those out
in the comments.
On the comments. And so it was just a powerful Sunday for us to really look into this year of taking our predicaments to the Father and trusting him no matter what. And I think for several, myself included, I think this is a great launching point to get into this year and really do reset. Love that we didn't do like a resolution sermon series, or we didn't do
it wasn't the year for that.
Yeah, it wasn't the year for that. It was about really going after what's going on in our life and really giving it to the Father. So I thought it was just an incredible service, or incredible series and service. North Katy had some extra stuff going on.
Yeah, what I loved, one of the things I love that our worship ministry does is they constantly include people from all ages, right? Not me. Right, yeah. Josh Stewart used to say I'm a congregational member, like not choir, not worship, but just. But our One Voice, so our junior high and high school choir, were out at North Katy leading, and I heard great stories from the people were there, just getting to see those young faces. And really, almost every Sunday in one of our venues, you're going to see people of all ages, not just participating, but leading in worship. And so, it's amazing to see what our worship team does with that.
Our worship team's awesome. Yeah. If you were in the courts, Hannah John killed it. She did awesome leading out there. And so it was just a great Sunday.
Speaking of worship and then all generations is John Boland and his wife Paige. They're probably asleep right now. I doubt it. They had their new baby last week, little girl, Ellie Ruth. Beautiful little girl. So John and Paige, we hope you're not watching this, right? We hope you're sleeping or taking care of your other kids. But best wishes to you. We can't wait to see her grow up here at Kingsland.
If you're watching, go find John on Facebook and go say congrats, because they're super excited. Yep. Well, shifting gears a little bit, we want to give some resources for your week. We'll start off with the Empowered Homes resource. I'm going to drop it in the comments here on Facebook. This is empoweredhomes.org/serving. This is a video resource. It's a cartoon, but it's not like cartoonish. It's an easy video that you can watch with you and your spouse, or you and your family, to talk about serving and how do we as a family take this it's not just an idea. It's not just something that, hey, this is a good thing to do. This is a mandate that we're called to serve and to love those around us. And so how do we take this and actually apply it to our families and to our life? It's a really good video to watch just to start a conversation. And what does it look like for our family to be about serving?
Yeah, to focus outside your home. Yes. Last night, leading a 10th grade boys life group and we were talking about some of the spiritual disciplines, and I had the boys rank them, and it was funny what they thought they were good at. They all put number one is rest. They had no clue. They're like, I sleep in on Saturdays. I'm like, that's not what it means.
That's not
right?
the same thing.
But a lot of them ranked service low because they said outside of like Sundays, they've never really done that. And so I think, Bobby, this resource is probably good for families to have that starting point. And what does it look like to look outward?
Yeah, so. to start serving. And just want to highlight, we got something big coming up next month. We have Caring for Katie. Caring for Katie is, if you don't know what it is, we shut the doors of the church so that we go out into Katy to serve. We have a ton of ministry opportunities. If you're in a community group, your community group's already talking about it. If you're not, email info@kingsland.org, and we'll get you plugged in to Caring for Katie. It's a great way for families to get together.
It's huge. I think this is our 12th year doing it, and it's amazing. Is one of the things Kingsland is known for is equipping families, but then serving others. I remember a few years ago I was coaching a baseball team, and met one of the parents and mentioned that I work at Kingsland, and they said, "Oh, you're the church that does that Caring for Katie thing," and they recognize because we always wear those little green shirts, and if you're watching and you're looking at an easy step towards service as family, is Caring for Katie's it? Yeah,
and Pastor Omar in the missions office has been working diligently to make sure all of our projects are safe and socially distant and all of those things. I know that's still part of the concern, but we're doing our best to make sure it's not going to stop us from caring for Katie. It's not going to stop us from going and loving our neighbors. So that's coming. But yeah, go check out that resource. We got a question of the week, a win at home question of the week. Brad, what is it?
Win at home question of the week. It's one that my youngest son asked probably 7 years ago, and he said, if you can meet anyone in the Bible, with the exception of Jesus, who would it be? Right? So you can have conversation, dinner, spend some time with them. Anybody in the Bible besides Jesus, who and why? And I'll ask you for your answer, and then I'll give you mine.
Okay. So I was thinking about this. I'm reading Every Day with Jesus Bible right now. I'm a few days behind, but I just read this morning in Genesis where Jacob wrestled with God. I'd love to sit with Jacob and be like, bro, how'd that go?
Yeah,
tell me, did you try any moves? Like,
tell me, was it jiu-jitsu? Did you spar? What did that look like?
Yeah, like this exhaustion of like, man, how'd you come out of that? Anyways, I think Jacob would be fun just to sit and be like, man, tell me about that moment. And then he walked away differently.
Yeah, of course, he lost.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, my answer was then and continues to be now, Jesus' earthly father. Right? Is Joseph. I mean, here's this man that we see little about, but that undoubtedly had a huge impact on raising Jesus. And so I would love to just ask him, what did that look like? And so I think it was interesting when you look at the pages of Scripture that he's not mentioned often, right? And sometimes that's a role of a dad, is just, hey, you're behind the scenes, you're leading well, loving and serving. So you may not get this big spotlight, right? But I would love to sit down and just ask him some parenting questions.
That's cool. So win at home question of the week, at dinner or breakfast or at some point in the car, is a great question to start conversation. And so if you could meet anybody other than Jesus in the Bible, who would it be and why? I think, for younger kids who may not know a ton of characters or it's an easy way to start introducing. I'm thinking of Chapman, my little one, of like asking this question, and then I could just see how many characters he knows, just pick his brain. What's he absorbing? What's he picking up? And so you could take it that next step. But that's a great question. As you win at home, go after that question. Moving forward into next week, we got a few things happening this week and next week. But women's Bible studies kicking off this morning, actually.
Right now.
Yeah.
First time at North Katy.
First time at North Katy. We've got women's Bible studies. We got Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You can go to kingsland.org/women, and you can get all the info on all those different stories. But also, on the flip side, we have some cool stuff for men. Wednesday nights here at the Central Campus, we're going through a Bible study, a book study on Wednesday nights that Gil Harris and myself are helping lead that. It's at 6:30 to 7:30. We're asking for 1 hour, commit for 1 hour, jump in, and it's a good time. So the purpose of the Kingsland Connection is for you to be connected, stay connected, and get connected. If you have questions, drop us a line on the chat, or you can always email us at info@kingsland.org. Brad, thanks for being here, man.
Bobby?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. See you next week.
See you guys.